live. So, all right, we're live on YouTube for the first time in months.
Yes, unfortunately, with the reduced staff.
Yeah.
Andrew, obviously, it's me and our local LS&I expert, Ryan.
Yes.
And somebody else has joined.
Owen.
Hello, Owen.
Bastards in Ohio's here too.
So,
We are live.
yes. So today, it's not burning subjects, but rather a questions and answers. And I'm also going to be repairing this old Rivarossi B&O switcher, which I actually got at the 2926 for $10 along with this coach. And the coach.
I see. Yeah.
So, let's take a look at the patient, however. So, a little bit of repair I did in my spare time is make a makeshift hook and loop coupler so that I could connect the tender for testing. And then I also added a knuckle coupling for testing purposes as well. But other than that, it's still in the same condition that I found it in. So the cab is missing the back of its roof, and from what I tested before, it does run, but not very well. And from what I can see here, also the smoke box is missing.
Oh, crap, that's an epic issue.
But don't worry, I can actually 3D model one and print one. I actually have a 3D printer, so I could probably fix that too. But
Actually, 3D model.
yeah, I can 3D model.
Holy shit! It's almost like you're a Shapeway artist.
Ha ha ha! Very funny. But anyway, though,
I mean that because I've been looking around on Shapeways for some stuff to upgrade some of my Transformers toys. There are a lot of people out there who do really good work. Shapeways is awesome.
all right.
There are a lot of different markets there, but whatever. Let's just get on with some Q&As about steam engines.
Well, yes. While I repair this old little thing, which I'm still not done with the assessment. What I could see also is that the gear system is very badly oiled. Like, in a sense, it's been using the wrong kind of lubrication oil. And I can also see that one of the steps for the switcher pilot is also gone on the front and also on the tender too. So that's a no-no.
Andrew,
yes?
Here's a question. Has that other step been mounted on the pilot of a mainline locomotive?
Haha, very funny. But
yeah, because I thought it was supposed to be a joke because Owen hates switcher pilots on mainline engines.
Oh, fuck you.
I like that though. That's why I like 2100.
No homo.
But anyway,
They are not proper. If you're going to put it on a switcher engine that's mostly going to be moving back and forth in a yard, fine. But if you're going to do it on a mainline engine, especially on a locomotive that runs at speed...
Oh, come on, screw you. 769 has a switcher pilot.
Well, 769 does not have to run at speed.
True. Okay, you're true. You're right.
I'm talking about, like, the really ridiculous examples, like the Lehigh Valley's earlier 484s, for example.
What about 2100? That thing has a slightly switcher pilot.
The T1s still have somewhat of a cowcatcher.
True. But anyway, though, before Owen blows his...
More than the complete 800 series.
Before Owen blows his shit, I'm going to be using this locomotive as a parts donor, just in case. I know it's completely unrelated to this model, but this is all that I have in my drawer at the moment for parts. So I'm going to be using that, but let's see. No questions at the moment, but there are 3 people here. And a couple of days ago, I went super shopping for some new stuff for helping with this little restoration. Some paint, some tweezers, some fine grade sandpaper. What else did I grab? Oh yeah, I got an X-Acto knife. And what? Oh yeah, and some super glue. The super glue was one of the things that I really needed, especially considering that some of this seems to be just falling off very badly. And on top of all that, I'm going to have to make a new smoke box door either way. So let's take a look. Let me get my screwdriver and... All right.
I guess I'm a little bit at a loss of what to build next in Gmod.
I mean, why don't you try something like, why don't you do something simple like a Lackawanna Hudson?
I will admit, maybe it's a little bit of my ignorance to rather obscure railroads for my standards, because...
said obscure...
If there's anybody watching this who for some reason thought that I was American, I'm not. I'm from the Netherlands. So you'll forgive me for my, you have to forgive me for my ignorance to roads like the Lackawanna.
Hey, Jim, I know what you should build next.
Yeah, but other than that, you also pay attention to other obscure roads like the Nickel Plate, for example. That's not as big as the NYC, and that still gets...
Well, maybe here's a very stupid reason why I do give the Nickel Plate some recognition. There are several locomotives of them in preservation.
I see where you're going there.
Hold on.
I will say, though, the Lackawanna was almost as, if not even more innovative with their superpowered designs. Because keep in mind, the Nickel Plate had probably some of the tiniest Hudsons out of any major railroad in the United States. Meanwhile, the Lackawanna had some of the largest and most powerful, too. Only engine that actually beats them out in terms of raw power would be the Chicago Northwestern E4s.
Which were also Hudsons?
Yes, they were. 55,000 pounds of tractive effort.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, I know what you should build in Gmod next.
What?
U.S. locomotives?
You mean USA locomotives in this server?
Yes.
Let me have a little... Oh, for God's sake! No! No! Not the 2664s from the Pittsburgh and West Virginia. So, just in case any of my subscribers happen to be watching this, like people who happen to be subscribed to my channel and Andrew's channel, you may remember that several times I said that the Union Pacific and the Norfolk and Western kind of pioneered the concept of simple articulated steam locomotives with 4 equal-sized high-pressure cylinders that received steam directly from the dome on the boiler. And how that happened in 1936? I was wrong. Apparently, the Pittsburgh and West Virginia had a class of 2664 locomotives that, in my opinion, looked a little bit scrappy and kind of hideous, that were introduced and built in 1935. And even that was after the quite repulsive-looking H72882s, a.k.a. Simple Simons, from the Chesapeake in Ohio.
Yeah.
They feel dishonored.
I will say this though about the C&O. They had incredible diversity in terms of steam power. I mean, I actually wonder how many classes of steam engine they actually had, because I've actually lost count.
Well, here's a very easy answer. Not enough.
True. But to be fair, the Alleghenies did do the job of the Challengers. So.
All right. Oh, all right, I'm back. And I guess
Welcome
since
back. You missed a pretty cool moment of rage from me, thanks to Ryan.
Oh boy, what happened?
Look at what he chucked in U.S. locomotives as a proposal for a next locomotive I should build in Gmod.
You know that he hates smokebox mounted air compressors.
I mean, I could dare say,
But really, though, you could just mount them on the sides of the boiler.
Oh,
again, one question. You think you can do streamlined engines in Gmod? I'm not talking about the...
Sure.
No? No?
No.
Because I wanted to see, because I was about to suggest a Dreyfus Hudson.
Besides, even within the spectrum of New York Central Hudsons, the best Hudsons are the non-streamlined Hudsons. In my opinion.
Okay, but here's...
Even though Owen here thinks that their streamlining was otherworldly.
Here's one thing that kind of pisses me off about the New York Central Hudsons, though. The only person who gets mentioned when talking about the construction of the Hudsons in general is Henry Dreyfus. He only streamlined. Granted, his streamlining was really good, as in it still allowed a good portion of the engine to be maintained, such as the valve gear, but it's almost like he gets all the credit for that shit. The real man you should be focusing on is Mr. Paul Kiefer, of the American Locomotive Company, who designed the Hudsons, but not only designed the Hudsons, he also improved the New York Central Mohawk design and made it an actual dual-service locomotive that does not wobble and splutter at speeds above 60. And he was the main architect behind.
Nobody pays attention. Let me get this straight. Nobody pays attention to Paul Keeper anymore.
You don't hear a lot. He doesn't get a lot of credit from what He only got credit. He only got credit in like a few videos I've watched about it. But guess what? He also created possibly one of the greatest steam locomotive designs of the 20th century. That being the Niagara. As in terms of overall, while it may not have as much tractive effort as a J class, it didn't need it. In other aspects, it beat the J class handily, like in speed, efficiency, and I think also in ease of maintenance as well. No offense towards the NWJs, I really like those engines too, but still, the only guy I've ever seen credited with anything to do with the Hudsons is Henry Dreyfus, when he only designed the streamlining of the locomotive, because it's actually what underneath is what counts.
Well, guys, before you continue your ramblings, I guess, there's something I actually wanted to show. Well, I wanted to show you guys a little something, but one sec, let me just take the extra weight out of this, if I can properly. Anyway, I can wait on that. But I actually wanted to show you this for a while. It's this.
Oh, Camelback.
Yep, and it's brass too.
It's gorgeous.
I got this thing on a bargain too, like $70, and I've been working for the past 10 months to get it running, and I finally got it running thanks to a couple of Show Me helpers a couple of months ago. But I still need to give it a new paint job, and I still need to finish the pilot, and it's going to be impossible to turn this thing to DCC, so I'm probably not going to get it to run often. But
wait, how are you going to paint it? 1187 or Strasbourg number 4?
1187, goddammit.
Alright. Here's a controversial. In terms of Camelbacks, I think 1187 is a bit overrated. And hear me out. And this is only in terms of locomotives in general. Because it's the only one that people seem to talk about.
Is 1187.
When you say... Exactly.
I mean, what about CNJ 774? That thing ran in the preservation era.
No, it didn't run in the preservation era, but it was the last. But it was the last mainline Camelback operating in the United States.
And yet it was cut up.
It was because 1187 only operated at like a power company. I think it was only operating at a power company at the time. I mean, mainline Camelback. That thing was the last one in service.
Look, you said it yourself, it really is a shame. It's just a shame.
Yeah, it's mainly because the CNJ was too broke to actually donate it to a museum, so they had to put it on sale for about $5,600. However, nobody in 1956 would pay that much to preserve a steam engine, unfortunately. So it ended up getting
$56,000.
$5,600.
Which, how much would that be by today's standards?
I actually need to calculate that, but it will take time.
Huh.
Calculate the value of $5,600.
I just figured it out.
$54,427.
You took words right out of my mouth.
That's a fucking bargain for a steam engine.
You can say that again.
When we live in an age when a narrow gauge Shay gets put out for sale for nearly $1 million, and a consolidation gets put on sale for about $600,000.
Let me give you something else to be upset about, Owen. Look, you want to say what it was again?
Oh, great.
What is this?
Oh, 2.6. Oh, it's the Reading G3 that almost made it. Fucking infuriating. Because it was offered to the city of Reading, Pennsylvania, but they refused. So they cut the poor thing up. Well, I mean, the Reading should have donated it to other places, maybe somewhere else along the line.
Or maybe even up Nelson Blount?
No. If it ended up at Steamtown, they would hold on to that thing for dear life, and they wouldn't give it. They probably wouldn't give it any chance to run at all.
And even if it was given a chance to run at all, it would probably be in very unfortunately crap shape by now. Just ask 2317.
Oh, yeah. We haven't talked about this.
Ask 1361.
No, because this is recent news also. For those of you who didn't know, Canadian Pacific number 2317 is dead. The engine is still around, but it's basically in scrapyard condition.
Permanent.
It's even worse than 3985 and 734.
It's in mechanically. From what I heard, the valve gear is pretty much toast. The parts of the frame joints aren't working.
Yeah, there was talk about it the other day.
So sadly, 2317 is sadly no more.
It's all gone. So let me actually double check on this Facebook comment by the Project 3713 group.
The water's going up. I'll send it again right now.
I'm going to read it out loud. Hello? The 2317 is beat to death. Apart from extensive firebox work, the driving boxes are beat and the crown brasses are loose. The center casting for the lead trucks has 30-plus cracks visible to the naked eye without cleaning the grease off. The frame has many joints that are working. The trailing truck wheels are loose on the axle. The cradle casting is worn out at the horns. The valve gear is worn beyond condemning limits. The tender is almost ready for the scrapyard. And that's just a visual inspection without any disassembly. Needless to say, I think the engine might be in just horrible condition enough. I think that the condition of 2317 is just bad enough to make 3985 and 734 look like relatively easy refurbishments.
I mean,
2317 is actually in worse condition transmission than 3254.
I mean,
yeah. So,
That's just sad.
also, yes, epic news on 3254. When it comes to, its whole twisted, its whole bent frame shtick, apparently that didn't happen in that head-on collision, but instead it was just idiocy and, clumsy and unhandy people that were moving it between different spots in the preservation era. Apparently,
That's 33.
pretty good job. Apparently, Canadian National did a pretty good job preparing the engine after that head-on collision.
God damn it!
Yeah.
Why?
No. And before you say that they're going to refurbish fellow Mikado number 3377 because its frame is in better shape, 3377's frame is broken. It's cracked. And unlike 2156 cracked, I think that frame is actually sort of split in half.
Steamtown, you're fucked!
It's like...
So let me guess. Andrew, you got to declare Steamtown as cursed?
Not just cursed, but horrible.
Steamtown is Dieseltown.
But look, the funny thing is, I was for the past month, me and my family had actually been traveling America, going to these different places. But I was given 2 places for me to go to. But, well, sadly, because we ran out of time, we weren't able to go to most of those places. But those 2 places I was able to go to in the end, which I chose, was the Age of Steam Roundhouse and the Blue Mountain Reading in Northern, which I actually didn't get to go to either of those because of the time frame, but I did get to go to 2100. But do you know why I chose those 2 over Steamtown or Strasbourg or any of those?
Over both, and in Steamtown's case, not a very good Steam music.
Strasbourg's overfoamed. It mistreated my favorite Camelback. And not only that, it turned one of 3 of those freaking Brooklyn Eastern District terminal tank engines into Thomas.
are you serious? Look, Thomas is with Thomas is a huge money man.
So
Hey,
We have to bring this up again now.
hold on. And then Steamtown. I have lost all respect for that place. And I only started gaining just a tiny bit when they restored the big boy cosmetically. Note, cosmetically. And I also got some news that they're cosmetically restoring 47, which I'm happy about that too. But the news about 2317 brought things down to a halt for my respect gain.
well, let me tell you about something. It's not that they don't have enough money. It's really that they don't have the experienced volunteers. And with all the bad press that they've been getting, not a whole lot of thanks to, I think, some overreactions, they're not going to be... They haven't been able to get the proper volunteers because of how much bad publicity they're getting. Which is why I preferred to take a bit more of a positive outlook so that they can improve. Because I see it in them.
Can't they get any more publicity once 3713 is up and running again?
I think that'll definitely improve things.
Well,
for the general
3713 will be a savior for them because, well, it's actually one of only 6 remaining Boston and Maine steam locomotives. 1. And it's actually one of the few steam locomotives in America that actually has a name. So that's definitely going to catch on. 3713 is going to be a savior for them. But...
Yeah.
Can I just say something about 3713 also? It's also one of the best specifics in preserved in the United States at the moment, so...
Wait, what do you mean it's one of the best? Is it like the most powerful, the fastest, or the strongest?
A bit of both. It's reasonably powerful, around 46 or 47,000 pounds of tractive effort.
Damn!
but that thing can fly as well. It was actually used to be displayed at the Boston Science Museum before it went to Steamtown. And they clocked over 100 miles per hour on that thing.
God damn!
They
Diggity darn damn dum 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 dum.
So yeah, it is one of the best Pacifics in
America.
In preservation. So
But
they're going to have quite a locomotive on their hands once they get that thing.
and if they fuck it up, I swear, if they fuck it up,
It's been under restoration now for 20 years, and most of the parts are like brand new. They're not rushing any bit of it.
good.
You have to be a very special kind of stupid to fuck something that up if your refurbishment is taking 20 plus years.
I mean,
they had a bit of fiction to contend to.
Not just that, it's the ITM in general was horrible at financial management from what I've heard.
But at least it didn't take anywhere near as long as Union Pacific 428.
Oh, that thing. 30 years to restore a consolidation. A steam test in 2009. And it's probably all very close to expiring its flues by now, since you did that. IRL, what the fuck are you doing? Not to mention they also have a canola Not to mention they also have a canola that's pretty much in scrapyard condition, from what I've heard. So
take its frame and build
I'll even got the canal from a scrapyard.
I'm not sure where 2707 came from, but that thing is just
fuck.
oh my goodness. That thing is depressing to look at. I mean,
And speaking of steam locomotives in bad condition, how about we take a step back to Steamtown for a second? What about that Canadian Pacific 444 Jubilee?
29?
Yep.
I heard that there's no current plan on deck to have that thing cosmetically restored, but then again, I'm not sure if they do move it. I feel like a part's gonna fall off or something like that.
God damn it, Steamtown! Again.
Well,
That's kind of sad because it's the only streamlined steam locomotive in their collection.
well,
They're wasting it.
there is a silver lining. There's 2928 that's actually preserved in Canada at Rail.
Well, is it in good condition?
Yes, but it's also out of the public eye because it's in queue for cosmetic overhaul.
Well, at least it's in better condition than the one at Steamtown.
I will say this, though. The best Canadian Pacific Jubilees are no longer with us. The 3000 series. And one of the 3000, number 3006, if I remember, holds the record for being the fastest steam locomotive in all of Canada. 112.5 miles per hour in 1936 along the Winchester subdivision, which is...
So it was flying along like a shotgun.
Well, to be fair, this was a couple of years before Mallard's record, so 112.5 was a pretty big deal. Keep in mind that also they were very similar to the Milwaukee Road A-class in a way, which sort of helped there. Meanwhile, you want to know a place that keeps their engines in near excellent condition?
Wait, don't tell me. Agency Roundhouse.
Greenfield Village.
Wait, what?
The Henry Ford Museum.
Oh, the Henry Ford Museum. I can definitely agree on that, especially with Torch Lake number 3.
1601, from what I've heard at least, is in the Allegheny, is actually in near operational condition.
Wait, hold on, what?
That thing was donated. That thing was donated directly from the CNO.
Yeah, they literally pulled it from the scrap line, as Owen said several times. They didn't send it in.
Not even from the scrap line. They pulled it out of service. They just straight up donated it.
Yeah, it has a new coat of paint in the scrap line to begin with. So when it was, as soon as it was retired, they just gave it some light cosmetic repairs, maybe on a slight mechanical level, and then sent it off its way to
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have been cool if it...
That's not honestly their most impressive engine there. One of the most impressive is Detroit, Toledo, and Ironton number 45, and Atlantic. That is actually...
Why can't they operate that thing already?
Their track is tiny, and 45 is huge for an Atlantic. I mean, the thing is fucking 2 firebox doors.
Well, I just want to see some Atlantic get restored. That way, it won't just be 7002.
Well, the problem with an Atlantic in a problem with an Atlantic in preservation is that you don't have a lot of tractive effort. So either you would have to run some really light coaches, or get at least a couple diesels behind your train to help if you're planning to run it on the main line. And on a tourist line, you can't run it to its full potential. Unless you're tourist.
Well, anyway, we all remember how 1601 got into the museum, right?
Yeah, it was built in.
Yes, you know what's coming. That locomotive was so goddamn big, and I believe that there was a very slight curve when it had to enter the museum, that the huge doors had to be removed to allow the 1601 to squeeze in. It's just like Steve Hurley, aka Tit Pig, delivering this epic line.
Yeah, I guess because of my size, you can't open up anymore.
You gotta love Catalina Gayport. So badly acted, it's just meme-worthy. God tier Gachimuchi material.
Mm.
But, another engine that I think that is actually in surprisingly good condition when they first got it was 2716. As Jason Subchinsky has said, I watched the interview with him on the Steam channel. The work that's being done to 2716 is work that would be normally done as a class overhaul by a railroad.
So it's in great condition.
Hey, Andrew.
Yeah?
I'm on Blue Line right now, and you left your shed here.
Don't you dare!
Are you coming back?
Well, as soon as I finish this live stream, yes. But don't you dare do what I think you're gonna do.
I mean, I'd love to stay, but wait. Before I go. Since yesterday was Bastille Day, which is almost the equivalent of 4th of July in France.
Let me guess, you're going to chuck in that French Northern type locomotive again that was the electrics of its time a run for its money.
Well, that was only the first Northern that Chapelon designed. There was an even better one that I'm going to be posting in Euro locomotives. There's going to be Euro locomotives, for example. And this looks like it has a larger boiler and box pocket driving wheels. It almost looks like it has it almost looks like it's a combination of a Coronation Scott, a Canadian National U2, and a French locomotive. Christ
alive, what kind of baguette has Chapelon been eating?
Very good ones, because his locomotives were arguably some of the greatest designs in the world. Here's a diagram for a 210-4 that he was developing. As you can see, it has a triple exhaust. That's a 210-4.
Where? Let me see. One second.
Yes, or Selkirk, as they would like to call it, because I think
Damn, boy!
it has a triple exhaust. But that's not the only thing that Chapelon made. He was also going to make this Hudson. A Hudson, which is capable of speeds of 125 miles an hour or more. So this thing... So if the French National Railways actually decided to stick with steam, they actually retired steam later than you think. Their last steam engine actually ran in 1974. Not as late as the German steam engines, but still far later than what the United States and United Kingdom ran their steam engines. So,
well, it's still nowhere near as late as last time China ran steam.
yeah, well, China's a communist shithole, so what do you expect? North Korea, though, was, I think, the true last... North Korea was the true last, I guess, bastion of revenue steam in a way. Funny thing, actually, speaking of Korea...
Wait, hold on. China last ran steam in 2005. When was the last time Korea did?
I think they were still running steam into 2011.
Oh. But again, that would be North Korea.
Well, here's a funny thing. During the Korean War, or really in general, the U.S. was supplying a lot of its old steam engines to Korea, and I'm not just talking like export models like S-160s used and Pershings and so forth. No. They were taking actual mainline steam engines that were, I guess, small enough to fit on the Korean loading gauge and just straight up giving them to them. In fact, I actually think an Erie K1, there's actually rumors of an Erie K1, which is, of course, an extinct steam locomotive class, which there's stories of them operating in Korea into the 1980s. So yeah, a little bit of an interesting factoid about normal United States steam locomotives entering service in another country.
But yeah, kind of change the subject back a little bit. At least we can all agree the Age of Steam Roundhouse is overall better than Steamtown in a way.
I love the Age of Steam Roundhouse.
I mean, yeah, if they actually had a track, if they actually had a stretch of track to actually run their trains on, I think that they would get a lot more attention than Steamtown. To actually, though I did hear that even though most of 6325, from what I heard, is in good condition, the problem with that engine is that it has a cracked axle, which means that they would have to lift the engine off of its frame, and from what I heard, the Age of Steam does not have the proper equipment to properly quarter larger driving wheels.
Shit, that means probably sending it over to Strasbourg.
Or TVRM. But then again, that's only if they have the incentive to actually rebuild the thing.
Either way, I just think it's a flippant shame Jacobson was the one who sold 2100 to Payne.
I mean, to be honest though, I'm not sure if the 2100 would have had, Because, like I said before, that engine is a bit picky with coal, as in anthracite, for example. Because it's an anthracite burner, so it's a bit picky.
And actually, that reminds me. When I went to the 2100, guess what Forrest Nace literally gave me? No money, nothing. He literally gave me this.
What? Oh, I have to check the license. Oh, I gotta check the license.
One of its stable.
You said that before.
God. Oh, nice.
I didn't even have to pay for it, and he just gave it to me. Because, well, while I was at the 2100, I was talking nonstop about, the history, because they usually would tell us all the information, but here I was just filling in the blanks. Like, they would say, okay, so this locomotive was built in, and then I would say 1945.
Yeah.
And so at one point, Forrest Nace was just like, all right, you continue. I'm just going to go get a drink.
The thing about 2100 though is that I think the reason why Jacobs didn't keep it was because of the fact that it's an anthracite burner, which means that he would have to source his coal from somewhere else rather than.
But anyway, 2100 is back in Ohio.
Yeah, and it's actually getting properly restored. So
you can say that, I guess.
Where are you gonna get the coal now?
I think they're going to actually. I think they are going to find a way to source anthracite. I've also heard stories about the 2100, about the T1s actually burning bituminous coal later in their careers, or a mixture of the two, because that's what the Reading and Northern actually does. They pretty much supply the. I think it's the bituminous to, I guess speed up the firing somewhat, or something like that. But the anthracite to provide the extra energy. It's actually a pretty neat way to. Because remember, it takes a long time to fire up an anthracite steam locomotive because it's. Like, whenever 2102 got fired up over those days she was having steam tests, it took her at least 2 days to get her up to full pressure. Or maybe even a full day for that matter. Mm-hmm. Speaking of said, I'm going tomorrow, as I head to the Strasburg Railroad to see number 611, I'm going to be making a stop at the Reading and Northern Steam Shops in Port Clinton. So I can.
You want to apply for a job there?
Well, not really. Well, no, actually, I'm still only 17 years old. So
I'm 16 and I work at the 2926. What are you talking about?
the Reading and Northern's like an actual railroad. No, that has.
I work at the Santa Fe Southern.
I don't know why. They just don't. They allow people to go. I don't know. They just under the age of 18. I guess for legal reasons, for labor reasons in the state of PA.
I mean, they allow me to work on the 2926 because I comply with the OSHA's regulations, and I was able to go through with the safety training.
Yeah, but I also think that it's also partly due to insurance reasons, at least as well. But
you think
back on topic, I am going to be seeing the 2102. I've been hearing stuff that they've actually been putting the valve gear back on the locomotive. But the things I know for certain is that it has had 2 steam tests this year.
Well, we know that.
Both were reasonably successful, and the tender is already covered in primer, so they're going to be painting that soon.
All right. Well, I think that this locomotive has been reasonably repaired because I did all that I could. For now.
I think I know what I can build next. Something that I said that I would build at some point.
Yeah?
Look in Euro locomotives.
Is it Another German lad.
Yes, specifically Prussian. Dense ball, but not. Dense ball.
Yes.
Class 94, known as a Prussian T16.
D16 SB.
No, T16.
I know. I was just making a joke.
But this one actually had a pretty noteworthy bit of history to it. It was actually sold. It was initially preserved and sold to the VSM, which is a tourist railroad in the Netherlands. This was their very first steam locomotive.
Huh. Well, is it still around?
Unfortunately, no.
Damn it!
Because at the end of the 1975 season, when they started operation, the locomotive sadly needed repairs to the boiler and firebox, I believe, and unfortunately, it was too expensive for the railroad back then to do it. If they would have repaired the locomotive, tragically, it would have put them into bankruptcy. So sadly, there was no other choice but selling it for scrap, and it was cut up. The good news is that there are plenty of other 94s still around.
Luckily.
Though, yeah.
You don't have a channel for those locomotives, so I'll just put it in general.
Oh, and guys.
What?
So when I went to Niagara Falls on my trip, when I went to the gift shop, I actually found this book at the gift shop. And while I was flipping through the pages, you might want to see a little adorable thing I found. One second, let me just okay.
Well,
So
speaking of Niagara Falls, Brian chucked a picture of a Niagara, though not quite the kind of Niagara you would see in general.
All right, where is it?
It's not American or Canadian, so I put it in general.
It's a Mexican lad.
Where is it?
And
It's in general.
No, I'm looking for something in the book.
Oh. Yeah.
Haha, there it is.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Hold on.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Yes, Dewey.
Vintage Camelback.
Oh, it's Dewey. His name's Dewey. Literally. That's okay. So let me just read the article. Which, besides the standard gauge South Buffalo Railroad, the steel mill operated an extensive narrow 36-inch gauge in-plant system. One of the earliest and smallest narrow gauge locomotives is number 4, which number 4, ironic, am I right? Anyway, which like other Lackawanna Iron Steel Company early locomotives was named in this case Dewey. Dewey was brought from L.I.N.S's Scranton, Pennsylvania operation to help build and open the Lackawanna plant. I want to build this on Gmod. This thing is just so cute. Should I build it?
I mean, yeah.
You go out.
It looks somewhat.
Go for it.
Yeah.
But actually, what other locomotives are in this? So just diesels. There's a nickel plate Burke, 758. What's in that?
Niagara Falls. Well, the nickel plate did run in upstate New York around Buffalo, to be exact.
Let's see here. Lehigh Valley Northern. There's a Lehigh Valley Northern in this. 52.
Is it one with a switcher pilot?
Yes.
God damn it!
I mean, honestly, it looks kind of cool. Actually, it looks kind of cool. Actually,
that thing I know, but it's not proper for mainline operations. Because if a cow somehow gets under the engine,
screw the cow, eat it.
Yeah, but the cow can get under and derail it.
Anyway,
That That's the reason why cow catchers were invented in the first place.
I know, Owen. I was joking. Take a joke. All right, but anyway,
Sorry, I get a little steamed, no pun intended, about talking about switcher pilots on mainline locomotives because, as I said before, it is not proper.
Jeez, you sound like my ex.
But it's beautiful.
Anyway, well, since you don't like that, let's take a look. A Lehigh Valley Class K6B North Pacific.
Oh, K5.
A K6?
Are those the things that were streamlined into the Black Diamond?
Let's see. Yep, the Black Diamond. Yeah, it just says the Black Diamond. Okay, east of Dearborn, 1945, number 10. Train number 10 is moving up.
Those are also really strong Pacifics because they had around 51,000 pounds of tractive effort.
God damn.
At least with I think that's with the booster though. So.
Well, then again, 2100 has about 79,000 pounds of tractive effort when with her. Ooh.
But I guess in the meantime, I also found a more simplistic yet somewhat necessary project for me to do in Gmod.
What's this? A K5. Oh no, it's a K4. By the way, speaking of which, I think I want to build a K4 in Gmod because, well,
what kind of K4?
Well,
what K4 Pacific?
Yeah.
Oh, Penzi?
Yeah.
K4?
Why not though?
Or Western K4.
Because
I'm just saying because there's like a bunch of K4 Pacifics. There's the Erie K4. There's a bunch of other K4 Pacifics in the United States.
That's the only one you can name.
Yeah, but yeah, I think in honor of 1361 finally getting a proper restoration it needs, I think that's a good prop. Albeit, if you want to do a different road number, that's totally.
I mean, why? I think 1361 would be fine. I mean, I could give someone else another K4 as 3750, but 1361. Look, I mean, I know Jim, you don't like Pennsylvania locomotives, but honestly,
You feel like you have to do this.
I just have to because. This locomotive has been pushed aside and disrespected and mistreated for so long, and now that it's getting the refurbishment it needs.
Not to mention, it was a former Steamtown-owned locomotive.
It wasn't owned by Steamtown, really. It was actually just brought there to be worked on, and it wasn't
Steamtown touched.
And it wasn't the Steamtown's fault that it got. It was actually contractors that were specifically hired to work on the engine that fucked it up while there. Steamtown just provided the venue.
But yeah, you know what I mean for this whole thing because it's just finally nice to see that the only K4 to operate in the preservation era is finally getting some good treatment.
Yeah, I like it because the K4s used to be very prevalent around my area. They actually in their last days of steam, when they were pushed off all the blue ribbon trains like the Broadway Limited, the General,
Oh wait, Andrew, go back a few pages.
Oh damn it!
This is Owen's favorite streamlining.
Let me see.
Is it the hold on a second.
Empire State.
Yeah, Empire State Express.
Oh, the Empire State Express.
Yeah, nice.
Funny thing is that it wasn't Henry Dreyfuss who designed it, if I remember. It was actually designed by the streamline. It was actually designed by someone else.
Okay, Henry Dreyfuss didn't design all the streamlining. That's actually a little bit worse.
Oh,
Take all the credit.
Oh no.
I mean, yeah,
Guess what?
What?
It's the $10 speed record.
Oh, is it the New York Central 999?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, dude. $10 sounds far too expensive. Make it 10 yen.
10 yen.
Fucking cheap.
10 yen for this crap deal.
The sad thing about the Empire State Express, though, is the day the modernized version came into service, December 7th, 1941, Japan
Harbor happened.
and we were automatically thrusted into World War II. So,
Japan.
honestly, though, I'm not even sure, to be honest, that due to the whole thing with, post-war streamliners, I'm not sure if the Empire State Express would have survived that long. Even without the war, to be honest.
Hey, what's this? Huh. Oh! So here's I found a Lehigh Valley Northern with a proper cow catcher. Or as you would call it.
Man.
Okay.
Okay, so let's party.
Owen, I think you should leave because you sound a bit tired.
No, I don't. I'm just no, I do not. I'm just looking for the person who actually does streamline the consist, because I don't remember the person who did it for the Empire State Express. Equipment used.
You know what I think it isn't talked about enough, though?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I think it isn't?
3025?
No.
Wait, that's too soon.
Here's a hint. It's a locomotive owned by the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society.
Is it
Wabash, Witcher?
Yep, it's 534. That thing is not talked about enough. I feel, I just,
I mean, that thing, I think that's going to be like, when the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society eventually moves over to, what is it again, Headwaters Junction? They are going to
use 534 for short tourist operations.
and as a general yard goat as well.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, 534 is a really cute locomotive to see them restore. And not only that,
And by
but
the way,
it's pretty unique
how
too.
many Wabash locomotives have operated in preservation era? 0.
Yeah, exactly. No.
Well, there's one locomotive from the Wabash that didn't even get to savor the joys of preservation, which is the P1s. You want to know the reason why? Because Wabash actually wanted to preserve one. They actually wanted to preserve one of the Hudsons, one of the P1 Hudsons, one of those beautiful things. And the city of Decatur, where they were actually rebuilt from three-cylinder Mikados, by the way.
They didn't want one.
Exactly. And it was
Anyway, guys, guess what I'm doing prop to mesh work on?
What?
yes.
Do you want to guess?
What are you doing to stop the mesh work on? I'm sad.
I'm currently prop to meshing, let's just say that's exclusive to my Discord server, and it's a certain New York Central ladder that should have been preserved. Yes.
I also just found out the two guys who designed the streamlining for the Empire State Express, Mr. Chase Knowlton and Mr. George Davies, who were employed under the guidance of Henry Dreyfuss. So these were the two guys that
I really hate to change the subject matter, but you go ahead and finish for a minute, Owen.
Oh!
Those are the two guys who just. And the one thing about the Empire State Express that sets it apart is, even on the 20th Century Limited, is the use of stainless steel. That let me just say that stainless steel. I'm gonna say that on a steam locomotive is a lot more attractive than just normal streamlining.
Okay.
Wait, guys.
Well, Andrew. Yes, Andrew.
So you guys know how I was doing that research on seeing what people would like better, passenger or freight?
Yeah.
Well, I got the results right here. So I went on random meme Discord servers. Note, random memes. You know, like all those people who just like they don't know anything about trains. So I asked them, when you imagine a steam engine, what do you imagine them pulling? And the interesting part is they completely matched. So 50% of all people imagine steam locomotives with freight behind them.
50?
Yeah, take a look. Okay.
Doesn't show up that
At least I prefer freight that are exclusive for proto charters.
I guess that I'm, smack down in the middle because I said mixed traffic.
Yeah, mixed is here because there's 3 people who said mixed.
Which means those people basically said both passengers and freight.
Yeah.
I mean, I can get why a lot of people would see a steam engine as a freight locomotive because, at least the most modern American steam locomotives, most of them were pretty orthodox in terms of a dirty appearance, such as, they were all black, they had tiny, many of them had smaller than average drivers.
But can I say something now?
You have low speed adhesion, good pulling power.
Yeah, yes, Ryan? Because it seems like you were...
While Andrew was absent from his YouTube channel, we all discovered news about 614 and a certain other Northern Roswell Untouched.
Yes, the National Railways of Mexico, or NDEM, I think, or NEDM, I do not know.
3025.
Yes. Yet 28. Yeah, it is 30. It is 3028. I think it is. Now, it was an engine that Ross Rowland convinced the New Hope and Ivyland Railroad to buy in the 1990s because he felt like they needed a 484. Turns out that engine is now basically a rusting hulk in the back shops that is not likely to actually be restored again.
That was the final nail in the coffin for all of us over Ross Rowland.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the thing he did on the Railway Preservation Forum, but I'm not going to get into that. You want to know what I actually found interesting, though, about, speaking of the RYPN, you want to know what I actually found interesting that is a bit more relevant to the mainline steam world? Mr. Kelly Lynch, who was the vice president of the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society, stated that before the COVID pandemic came into effect, they wanted to run 765 on mainline excursions out of Chicago in October of 2020. So essentially a repeat of the Joliet Rocket trips.
That would have been nice. That would have been so nice because, like, I love seeing steam locomotives go at speed. I mean, it's not a common thing in America anymore, but for the people at Britain, you are very lucky.
I've been ridden behind 765 at going at least 60. It was quite an experience, let me tell you. Also, it's likely I am going to be seeing her in the Cuyahoga Valley for my 18th birthday. Still haven't gotten
And by the way,
Yeah?
614 is up for sale as well.
Yeah.
From what I heard, a fairly reasonable price, at least compared to some other steam, at around $200,000, which, look, may not be the cheapest, but it is definitely a lot more reasonable than a consolidation for 600,000.
Or
Seriously,
560 to be exact.
I like rounding numbers sometimes because it's easier to remember off the top of my head. But the thing is, another thing I would like to point out is, like, I've heard many negative things, recent times, I've heard many negative things about the Iowa Pacific in general, about how all of the roads they owned were losing money. Literally every single one. Because I think the man who was in charge, Mr. Ed Ellis, if I'm correct, look, it was great to see a man who cares so deeply about railroad heritage in a way and using vintage equipment. But when all of your railroads do that, and you just keep buying more and more and more and more, without more revenue to actually keep them in service,
stop Christmas from becoming.
they are inevitably going to fail, unfortunately. That was the whole thing with, not to mention, they kind of screwed over the United Railroad Historical Society of New Jersey at one point, back in 2016, when they leased parts of their equipment, and they ended up fucking damaging them and straining them across all parts of the country. So you got Lehigh Valley S units in Mississippi, several Comet cars, now painted up in the fucking Illinois Central liveries, just stranded across multiple different places across the United States. Now they have to all be relocated. or sold off. Because the URHS doesn't have the money to actually, probably doesn't have enough funds to actually, relocate said piece of equipment. Excuse me. But, yeah. I just realized how badly managed of a company Iowa Pacific was, because don't get me wrong,
that's part of the reason why I don't like 18 ending up there, or even 1744 for that matter.
Well, 1744 was operated for 1 year, but then it ditched because it wasn't powerful enough for them.
No, they wanted to restore it because Fireball took them.
No. I watched the video about from one of Colbert Dale's videos, and one of the people actually ran it there said the engine was not powerful enough, so we got 18 instead because it provided more traction up the steep grades. But to be honest, I really do hope the St. Louis and Rio Grande is preserved, because that's an excellent piece of railroad they got there. And it would be a perfect testing ground.
For those of you who are wondering, Owen's just worried it's going to end up like Ohio Central did.
No, I'm also worried about it being torn up. That's a legitimate concern I have.
But
There's one thing I hate more than a railroad being bought out by an asshole company. It's it being torn up in the process and turned into a fucking trail, like everything else in this goddamn country. Just rip it up, turn it into a trail. Jesus Christ! It's almost like George the Steamroller is buying up every single.
He's also worried he's going to end up like that one Oregon first railroad.
Yeah, the Oregon Pacific and Eastern.
Did you just say George?
It's a joke.
No, look at the stream.
George. Oh, fuck you. Not that Thomas jokes.
Wait, hold on.
That was my fault because I made the George the Steamroller joke.
You're not going to escape from the Thomas joke.
But I will say that. But the reason why I said this is that his character in the show, George was an asshole, grumpy steamroller whose catchphrase was basically "rip them up, turn them into roads."
We have to talk about this right now, don't we?
But anyway, guys.
What?
I'm going to end the stream soon, but before I do that, I'm going to announce the future of Burning Subjects.
Oh, yes. That's actually a rather important thing we need to...
Oh, yeah.
Dude, can I explain it so that, like, one of our members, unfortunately, has decided to, well, leave the Burning Subjects podcast for some rather upsetting reasons that we do not...
We'd rather like to keep this closed.
We're going to keep it closed. But
Yes.
Burning Subjects is going to be coming back in a brand new form.
Yeah.
In a way that has never been seen before on YouTube. We are going to be doing a Top Gear style show with steam locomotives.
Hold on, let me call Chris Stephen Green to know that you're actually ripping him off. Because his show, Steam Locus and Profile, is often described as the Top Gear for trains.
But then again, he mostly talks about them, but he doesn't do the extreme stuff that we are going to be doing.
Jeez, because he's the freelance filmmaker. Yeah, Chris Stephen Green? Hi, I have this friend, Andrew Delgado, who's ripping up your show. Yeah.
He's coming to America now! No!
But in all seriousness, this new show is going to be like Top Gear, except it's with Gmod steam trains.
Yes.
As in,
Let's make it more like Bottom Gear, because Gmod is basically a shit show anyway.
Well, it's either going to be a live stream or it's going to be video edited.
Hopefully, we are expecting to release one video a month at least. But at most, we'll be having one video a week. But we're gonna be taking a lot of progress to try getting this good. So I'm gonna have to get some streaming stuff, especially because, well, we're gonna be on Gmod, and we're gonna be experimenting with steam locomotives in a way never seen before. So we're going to be I have an anonymous person who is going to give us some challenges to do with steam locomotives. The same guy.
Just one question about this. Are we going to be using real footage of steam locomotives from ourselves for at least once in a while?
Well, so this is how it's going to go in the show. So at the beginning, we're going to be sitting down, we're going to talk a little bit. And then we're going to go into a small section of a couple of steam locomotives we're going to talk about, which is the Burning Subjects section, in which, of course, we go to the cool wall like normal. And then we talk about a couple of steam locomotives and their unique abilities. But then, depending on the type of locomotive we're talking about, that will be the base for our challenge. Take instance, if we're talking about streamlined steam locomotives. Guess what our challenge would have to be?
Make it as aerodynamic as possible.
Make an aerodynamic steam locomotive that can top Mallard.
I already failed.
But yeah, so this is going to be very interesting for the new series, especially when it comes to I have a custom company in Gmod called the Blue Line and Eastern Railroad, and I build custom steam locomotives with pretty absurd amounts of tractive effort. I have a 280 with 69,000 pounds of tractive effort for Christ's sake.
Nice.
And not only that, I also have a 280 with 3 cylinders with the same amount of tractive effort.
Nice.
But that's besides the point. This new series is all about creativity and construction. Well, except for the burning subjects part. That is all about our knowledge and us just talking, and then, you know, it's just like the basic burning subject. But when it comes to the challenges, that's when things are gonna get greasy.
Mom says to watch a TikTok she sent you.
Ow! I'm live on YouTube, Anthony! He just slapped me!
Red, this stream is not made for kids. Quick, we must use swear words. Shit, bitch, fuck, gun, cocksucker, motherfucker, fart, flat, yeah, well, let's go suck some dick.
That shit, dirty old twat. Sit down, assholes.
Planet of the Night! Hooray! Lizard shit! Fuck!
Yeah, let's go suck some dick. That's what the gay guys
Red Sun. I forgot what it says. Anyway, but yeah, this is how the new thing is going to go, and hopefully, I really hope you guys love it because, well, you know that a couple of us here have been feeling the heat of the loss of one of our members. So hopefully this will be something to make up, as well as the announcement of the other series, which you guys saw the first episode of about a week ago, which was the music video of a tribute to Western Maryland 734 and its retirement, which that was just one of 8 upcoming for this year. 8.
Let me guess. Next one's got to be about 2317.
Nope.
One of.
So if you're wondering what the next one is going to be, you can actually go to a playlist. And the playlist is called Living on a Railroad. And that Living on a Railroad, all of the songs are organized based on the locomotive that they're going to be about. So the first one was, of course, 734. And then the next one, let me just go down here to the playlist. So the next one will be about 1309. And the song, would you guys like to know the song it's going to be? It's In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins.
Oh.
Is it just Phil Collins or is it Genesis?
Yeah, I think it's just a song he made by himself.
What?
No,
Oh yeah, it's
Phil Collins was also the singer of a band called Genesis.
yes, I did. But yeah, the next one will be about 1309, and it's In the Air Tonight, which, for obvious reasons, because if you guys don't know, I actually put a lot of emotional feeling into these ones. Like, for instance, The Mountain, the lyrics really contributed to the situations 734 was in, because the locomotive was, it was pushed beyond its limits, even though its limits were brought up even further. And the song, The Mountain, basically was a story of...
Yeah, there's actually a little bit of irony to that. Apparently, I didn't think the 734, apparently the engine wasn't refurbished that well, because despite having a boiler pressure raised from 185 to 200 psi,
Actually, I just learned a new fact recently.
75 psi because of how the safety valves were set.
Actually, I just learned a new fact. The original PSI was originally 200.
But anyway, though, guys, on with this, though. With The Mountain, the song The Mountain by 3 Days Grace, this was a story of someone pushing himself beyond his limits in order to keep climbing the mountain over and over and over and over again until he reaches the top. And that is basically summing up the story of 734. Just another day climbing up the mountain, up and down, wearing itself out beyond its limits until the very end.
Yeah, go to reach the top or die trying, basically.
Exactly.
I have another music video idea. If this isn't for 1361, I was thinking of the song by Journey known as "Don't Stop Believing." Reason is that people still had faith in the rest, even though the restoration was getting kicked around constantly. There were people that still had faith, and that faith was rightly placed, thanks to to the people who are now in charge of the project.
Yes, that is a good. That you see that, Owen? That's an example of a good idea. But would you guys like to know the one that's going to come after 1309?
Sure.
Which is the last one I'm going to tell you guys. The one that comes after 1309 is another C&O locomotive.
2716?
614.
Oh.
614's song will be "Don't Stop Me Now."
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's good.
For obvious reasons.
Fitting, actually, because it's better on NJ Transit.
Exactly. 614 has been known to be one of the fastest steam locomotives to operate in America when it comes to the preservation era, since, it's been allowed to let loose. It's been allowed to run and stretch.
Well, let me say this. It wasn't really allowed to let loose because Ross Rowland kind of oversped at one point.
Well, at one point he did overspeed it. But what I'm talking about is the other times that it was allowed to actually run free and do this and go at it. And it was, it was an impressive locomotive to see. And so this locomotive deserves this song as its representation in music. Yeah. Especially since, if you guys remember that calming part at the beginning and then at the end, that echo at the end symbolizes that 614 probably won't run again, sadly. It's a sad truth, but we must remember the life she had in preservation.
I'm gonna say this though. I think she could have had more use put through her, because whenever she did operate, it was for a very short period of time.
It may have been short. But it was awesome.
Find a steam locomotive that's suitable for holding out for a hero.
Well, I was thinking of doing another music video myself, which actually is a bit more of a, I guess, somber one in a way, which comes, since I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan, I was thinking of doing the song Comfortably Numb, but showing scenes of some of the last days of steam locomotives in terms of the steam. And yes, some of the footage will likely come from Last of the Giants.
And by the way, speaking of which, I used to watch a music video about the Big Boys and Challengers featuring the song Fat Bottom Girls.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that too. But this song is a bit more, it's not supposed to be about big boys, and it's supposed to be about the end of the steam era in general. And with that, I'm going to have to take my leave now.
All right, Owen, we will see you later, and thanks for spending this hour and a half with us.
Yeah, I'll talk some other time, so goodbye.
Goodbye. But before we go, I actually have this one's a special one because this one is coming out later on. This is for the next one, because after this year is another series of Living on a Railroad. And the first one for Living on a Railroad Season 2 will be about 475 and the N&W Mastodons. And the song that'll be played for them will be Creepin' by Eric Church. If you've ever heard that song anyway. For those who don't know, the 630, Southern 630 was actually featured in the music video for that. So that's just a fun fact for you. But this song plays into the Virginian Creeper. But either way, that is the end of this stream for now. We will see you guys in Steam Force. Huh?
I like to have a small announcement to make for my own YouTube channel.
Okay.
Someday, within at least 1 month or so, hopefully, I'll be showing some I'll be making a video that I doubt anyone has ever done before. That's all you need to know. Now I can end the stream.
All right. Well, we will see you guys in Steam Force. Thank you so much for joining us on the stream, and we will see you guys next time.